All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between Pink and HawK, taking place here on Hammerfall. HawK spawning as the red human player on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Pink spawning as the blue undead over here on the bottom right. Should be a great game as we get to that 2-minute mark and really start to see what is unfolding. Altar of Darkness, Crypt, and while waiting for that Tomb of Relics, there you go. It is going to be a Crypt Lord going up against an Archmage. Crypt Lord, that go wide strategy that I've often talked about, being able to set up expansions relatively quickly, has become part of, well, an undead's MO. Alright, a little bit of damage being done. You just all attacking Berserkers, trying to finish off this Water Elemental, but the Militia going to be able to easily finish it off there. Now finishing off this particular rock wall. Meanwhile, on the southern side already, one lone footman keeping track of everything. You can see that Kobold Taskmaster getting a couple of stuns, as well, the game is already set and underway. Crypt Lord will be getting to level 2 here. Meanwhile, this Acolyte down to 30 hit points. It needs to stay on Blight. What is going on? Down to 3 hit points. Is it going to get away? No, it is not. So HawK, lone footman, able to finish off one of those Acolytes early on, as we are now seeing an a Scout Tower being set up by HawK. HawK should be perhaps trying to set up an expansion here in just a moment as well. His base is fairly empty, meaning that the Archmage is going to stay relatively close by to try and offer a bit of protection. One Beetle, is it going to get taken down? Yes, it is. One Beetle already down. Another Beetle most likely will get taken down as well. Meanwhile, Crypt Lord is coming back across. Are we going to get some Militia called over? We are, and there they go. We are, well, underway in terms of this engagement. There goes an Impale. Skeletal Minions going to try and surround this Archmage. Militia perfectly standing close to that Archmage as well, offering a way to break free. Meanwhile, Water Elementals were able to get in some damage and some fighting in here, as the units were trying to chase after that Archmage, which is incredibly important. Low hit point Militia already retreating back. Well played by HawK to ensure, trying to minimize these losses, as this Footman now trying to escape away at 28 hit points. Alright, what's happening here? Is that Archmage going to be able to pull it away? It will be able to do exactly that. Meanwhile, Arcane Tower is currently up. We're looking at additional skeletal minions popping up out of the ground here as the Water Elemental tries to get in some damage onto some of these while passing by units. Skeletal minions, one gets taken down, another one going to get taken down. That is free experience for that Archmage, who is now at 2.5, as that Ghoul is still taking a little bit too much damage as well. Archmage trying to get in some extra Ghoul shots, Ghoul damage there, down to 65 hit points, as the Archmage does not have Boots of Speed, will not be able to catch up quite enough, as we're looking at, well, oh, are these ghouls going to get through? Yes, they are. I thought for a moment we might see a 3 units around, but then again, the Crypt Lord does have Impale, so should be able to break freely there. One ghoul is going to, oh, beautiful deny right there. Beautifully done by Pink. Denying that last ghoul, using that ritual dagger, also getting some heal regeneration there, as the Arcane Tower should act as a very strong deterrent here. Archmage, well, doing a good job. We're going to see another skeleton minion getting taken down. Footman trying to retreat back. This Footman down to 108 hit points. We're looking at all of these units still falling back here. Archmage may need to drop a second Water Elemental, but really trying to get just a little bit more experience first. If he can get up to level 3, those level 2 Water Elementals should be more than enough of a deterrent to stop Pink from trying to push forward here. Alright, down on the south side here, Pink is setting up a haunted gold mine of his own. Needs about 8 more seconds. Arcane Vault also getting added in as well. And we are going to be going into a rather tech-heavy game and economy-heavy game by both of these players. Archmage did summon up a Water Elemental. That Beetle should easily get finished off here. Meanwhile, Archmage, is he going to try to pick up Boots of Speed? No, doesn't do anything from the merchant shop, as more ghouls are just going to simply run through here. This is a little bit of a painful play here, as the ghouls are going to try to dive in. There's a lot of low hit point footmen, 5 ghouls amongst all of these. That one footman, is it going to be able to retreat back? No, it is not. It ends up getting taken down. More ghouls now making their way back over. And, well, Pink finding a ripe opportunity to, well, deal some damage. One ghoul does get exchanged there. Meanwhile, there's a Tome of Intelligence and Slippers of Agility hanging back here, as the Militia are going to try and engage. HawK going to lose another Militia there, as the, well, Crypt Lord looking to get to level 3. One water elemental scouting out will spot this. Archmage, well, it spots now that level 3 Crypt Lord. We're looking at a little bit more damage here, but summoning up that extra additional water elemental perhaps not needed, as this forest troll does get taken out. Pink has been playing a pretty strong game so far, setting up a necropolis here. Tech to tier 2 is nearly done. Re-summoning up this Altar of Darkness and getting up a crypt as well. Perhaps we will be looking at gargoyles. Footman trying to fight back here, and Undead is just gonna, well, be in a very comfortable spot, running up on 2 bases. Low hit point Ghoul trying to retreat back. Once more, that water elemental getting in good amounts of damage, but the Ghouls, while on Blight, do regenerate hit points quite well. We're gonna see one more shot, perhaps. Nope, not gonna be able to finish off that Ghoul. He gets away at 12 hit points. Archmage continuing this battle here. Footman cornered himself behind that gold mine, surrounded by ghouls, and he's going to get finished up as well. Now, what is HawK's plan right now? He cannot just he's going to have to find a way to trade efficiently against the undead, as the undead has that economic equality. Another ghoul gets taken down here. Crypt Lord is sitting at level 3. We are at tier 2 and getting up that Altar of Darkness Death Knight now. Meanwhile, back here we do see the Mountain King as that follow-up hero. Tech to tier 3 already underway. We can see that the blacksmith is done here, and perhaps a couple of riflemen could get trained up. We could also be looking at some workshops to try and get flying machines to deal with well, the eventual destroyers that I am expecting to see come out from Pink, as we see a slaughterhouse come online. Pink, well, brought back a bunch of ghouls, currently collecting and harvesting a good amount of lumber. Meanwhile, the Crypt Lord, moving out at level 3, does have multiple wands of negation. Alright, so multiple wands of negation. Arcane Tower here, dual Arcane Towers, should be able to shut down these beetles fairly fast. These beetles not going to be able to do all that much right here. As you can see, well, going after those targets pretty quickly. Alright, Mountain King also online. Those Arcane Towers, one beetle does get taken out. Perhaps another beetle will get taken out as well. One more final shot, and you can see that beetle is going to try and go for that peasant. Is he going to go for it? No, he is not. And a little bit of micro away from all the action as a Death Coil lands on that Archmage. Mountain King is out on the battlefield. It doesn't have Boots of Speed, but wants to land a Stormbolt and perhaps try and pick off some of these fleeing units in this ebb and flow battle. Mountain King, now with those Boots of Speed, should be able to chase down units, as the Archmage, well, tries and clear out a creep camp, but the undead is nearby to try and disrupt things. There's a gift wrapped footman in the back here. There's a Stormbolt followed by an Impale. And, well, those footmen are going to have a bit of trouble as the water elementals will get dissolved into a giant puddle of nothing again. This is just a great fight for Pink here. Constant impales, Stormbolt, Death Coil, and Pink has been able to keep his Crypt Queen alive, but it looks like it will finally get taken down after all that time, as there's no more mana on that Death Knight. Archmage could be in trouble trying to break free from any sort of surrounds here, as we're looking at another footman about to get taken down. There it goes, 63 supply compared to 40. HawK is sitting on a large amount of gold, but a very small standing army at this point, and Pink is just absolutely punishing HawK for not investing in a larger army. This is going to give time for Pink to, well, expand or just take more control of the map, clear out these creep camps, and perhaps clear out the more difficult creep camps. Meanwhile, HawK is being forced to go after some of these smaller creep camps here, since his standing army isn't that large. Tier 3 is done. Lich is getting trained up. We should be getting an Orb of Corruption as well. Meanwhile, we are going into dual Griffin Aviaries, trying to get those well, Griffins trained up, and we are also going into workshops with flying machines. So taking to the skies flying machines to deal with destroyers perhaps, and then Griffins to try and deal with everything else. But remember, there are a lot of Crypt Fiends on the ground, and Web is a very damaging well, way to bring down those Griffins easily. Alright, doesn't even need to be it can just be auto casted. However, the flying machines are hanging around in the back as the Paladin now comes out onto the battlefield. Are we going to see, well, Staff of Sanctuary? No, we are not. There goes one, there goes the other, giving level 4 to the Crypt Lord. And with that, that Crypt Lord is going to try to finish off more of those units again. I do believe we see an orb of slow on the Archmage as the units are backing up once more. 55 supply compared to 69. Pink still taking big control of the map here. Level 4, level 2, level 1. Lich with an invul potion as well, able to venture forth around the map. Even though the army supplies are about the same right now, remember that we are training up 8 supply back at home. And meanwhile, Pink's not training up nearly as many things back at home, so the standing army is still bigger for Pink significantly, as we see a big battle now in the center portion of the map here. All right, at the expo. All right, Crypt Fiend gonna get taken down. Orb of Slow doing its thing, trying to force engagement. Griffin Riders trying to make their way through as well. You can see those Slow causing problems. There goes another as the Mountain King gets up to level 2. All right, going straight after that Obsidian statue. 1-2. Well, final shot does finish it off once more. There's a Staff of Sanctuary for a save. I believe that was on that Mountain King, as we are still looking at more damage going across here. All right, low hit point Crypt Fiend down to dead, giving level 4 to the Archmage. Mountain King comes back out, trying to get in some more Stormbolts as well. There goes an Impale. Knight gonna get taken down. Well, most likely Paladin gonna get a Holy Light onto the Knight. However, the Paladin gonna sacrifice himself for the cause as another Obsidian statue lost. Big exchanges across both sides here. This Knight could be in some big trouble as another Obsidian statue taken down. The Griffins with that magic damage really racking up large amounts of damage onto all of those units again as another Crypt Fiend falls once more. HawK able to punish Pink by picking off the high priority targets that take extra damage, and just a little bit of focus fire going a very long way in these battles, and all that was really lost was perhaps a Knight and a level 1 Paladin. Alright, Archmage should be Staff of Sanctuary in some of those Knights and some of these other units as well. Mountain King could get to level 3. What is this Knight? Well, Archmage makes its way over. Mountain King not going to get level 3 now, as the Paladin is also here too. Alright, we need to see more Staff of Sanctuaries. Archmage, yeah, just come on, save that low hit point Knight there. Archmage, didn't realize that that little attack looked so different once it had that Orb of Slow effect there. Alright, a little bit more slowing. Mountain King now sitting at level 3. There's a Staff of Sanctuary for that low hit point Knight that should have been, well, used long ago.
A player's forces are
and
under
HawK
attack.
is making a very strong play to get back into this game and perhaps take a lead, now with a supply advantage and also with a level 3 Mountain King. Alright, some red creep camp's gonna get cleared up. Lich 4-3-2. Lich, if it can get to level 3, that does mean level 2 Frost Nova unlocked. Gargantuan and Sea Turtle also taken down. Paladin wants to get to level 3, but with the Mountain King nearby, may not be able to get there. Archmage is hanging out at the shop here, purposely allowing additional experience to be given to that Paladin, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Mountain King gonna take just a little bit too much of that experience as we see more Staff of Sanctuaries pulling back some of those low hit point units again.
A player's forces are under
Alright.
attack.
There's the Enforcer. Archmage. Paladin finally gets up to level 3. So 4-3-3 going up against a 4-3-2 right now. Scroll of Town Portal inbound. Arcane Tower. Frost Nova trying to take down more of those peasants, as the Mountain King does want to try to perhaps land a Stormbolt. Gonna find a Stormbolt onto a Crypt Fiend there. Does have level 2 Thunderclap instead. There's that Death Coil. There's a Thunderclap. And well, all of those units are slowly walking away right now. More damage coming across here. Griffin's actually trying to challenge those Crypt Fiends, even though the Crypt Fiends have medium armor and take reduced damage here. All right, Paladin. Holy Light. Lich gets up to level 3 right now. Mountain King still going after some targets. Are we going to see some more Thunderclaps? There's some more damage. Another Staff of Sanctuary, or excuse me, Holy Light, but a Griffin does get taken down there. Staff of Sanctuary is on the Paladin, so we have 2 Staff of Sanctuaries ready. Mountain King perhaps still trying to give chase here. Doesn't have Bash, so not going to get a lucky Bash there. Instead, the Stormbolt onto a Crypt Fiend. Mountain King getting a little bit of mana somehow. Perhaps that Mana Stone that we saw was earlier on that Paladin was transferred over instead. Are we going to get a Thunderclap? Yes, we are. More slowing across all of these units again. We're going to see some more damage. Mountain King Stormbolt onto a Crypt Fiend once more, and that Crypt Fiend will get taken down, giving level 4 to the Mountain King and level 2 Stormbolt. 61
A
supply
player's
compared to
forces are under
53. Pink is just, well, in a tough situation now, as the roles have kind of reversed. HawK, with superior micro on his Griffins and flying machines, able to poke down, well, targets. Now, the Griffins are upgraded 1-0 compared to the 1-1 upgrades on these Crypt Fiends. And we're just still waiting to see what Pink can really do here. Pink still has a good amount of lumber in the bank, or gold and lumber. He can train back up fairly well, get back up to 60 supply in a hurry. But right now, we're looking at HawK just running around the map, clearing out all of the remaining creep camps and trying to get even higher levels on those heroes. What's going to happen here? Level 5 on the Crypt Lord, level 4 on, well, nearly level 5 on that Archmage. So 4-4-3 compared to 5-3-3. As the Death Knight, well, also does have a healing ward as well, so could try and play a little bit of a defensive game. There's, well, we are getting some Banshees. We are getting mastery training. We know how important anti-magic shell on from those Banshees can be in terms of, well, absorbing a little bit of additional damage from those Griffin Riders, since the Griffin Riders do deal magic damage, and being able to absorb part of that initial volley just buys you time. 74 supply compared to 69. The problem right now is going to be how many Banshees can get trained up. It's going to take a little bit of time, and perhaps we're also going to see Possession come online. All right, Banshees. Well, double queued up here, none queued up here. A little bit of, well, balancing act, trying to do as much research as you can. There you have it. Double training still. And just trying to get as many of those units out onto the battlefield. Yeah. Off to the north, one Beetle just hiding off there. We can see Griffin Riders, flying machines, and a Knight or two. We are looking at a retrain of the Archmage into Blizzard, so no more water elementals. And now the Mountain King also has the Orb of Slow so that he can attack the air. There's a Stormbolt. Death Knight could be in trouble. There's a Blizzard already, and well, dodge the Impale. Level 4 now on that Death Knight. Units are trying to retreat back. Anti-magic shell, so incredibly important, as we're going to see the Griffin Riders will be in a little bit of trouble. There's that healing ward providing quite a bit of cover. Mountain King needed to dive in there, gets a thunderclap across. Paladin could be in trouble, needs to use a divine shield as the units are falling back again. 73 supply compared to 70. Anti-magic shell doing its thing. As we're looking at that Lich try to retreat back. There's that Invul Potion now going to come back around again. There's another Staff of Sanctuary for another save, as that Mountain King, well, still throwing down Thunderclaps. All right, so anti-magic shell getting eaten away by Thunderclaps and by all of those Griffin attacks here. We're going to see another, well, low hit point, well, no, massive Thunderclap. And there goes one Crypt Fiend. Are any more going to get lost here? We're still seeing a lot of healing by those Obsidian statues, but unable to keep up with that level 3 Blizzard. All those Crypt Fiends just whittled away, belted to death, as the fly machines are now falling one at a time due to web. 71 supply compared to 56. Well, Pink doing a great job using anti-magic shell. Without that anti-magic shell, that Thunderclap Blizzard Griffin combination would have been far, far overpowering. Even with that, Pink comes away, well, on top with the supply lead now, and a commanding one at that. The ebb and flow of this battle really changing back and forth as we're looking at, well, more Griffins trying to get trained up, more units trying to be healed. We do have triple Staff of Sanctuaries, but remember, triple Staff of Sanctuary, you save a unit, but you still lose you still have significantly less damage output because that unit is gone from the battlefield. Mortar teams now getting added in order to deal with those Banshees in that back line. But look at this, well, green army, this anti-magic shell army, just inviting Blizzard and Thunderclap to perhaps deal damage. All right, Lich comes across, sees a mortar team. Are we going to see a Frost Nova? Death Coil Frost Nova straight up on there. That's what it should be. There is that Impale there. I'm surprised we don't see a Frost Nova onto the mortar team now. There's a Thunderclap, but so much damage being absorbed. The mortar team in that back line here, if it can hit all of these Banshees, could be a big, big play. 80 supply compared to 62. Both sides still fighting. Anti-magic cell still providing a plenty of cover here as that Blizzard is slowly eating away at that anti-magic shell there. All right, Banshees in the back portion. There's a massive Thunderclap, and Pink says, you know what? I do not want to stick around in this fight at all. He retreats back, and rightfully so. Look at all of the damage across all of these units. He's going to be able to heal up again, but the Obsidian statues are relatively low on mana. They may need to take to the skies, turn into their Obsidians, or into their Destroyer form, as the gold mines are nearly run out of gold. Main gold mine, nearly out of gold. Expansion gold mine, nearly out of gold, and both sides have not taken the opposite gold mine yet. That could potentially be a problem here, as the Death Knight has a number of items and he's ready to move on out. Banshees, need more mana. Anti-magic shell is an expensive ability. We have not seen any no curses or anything like that. Acolytes can't. Oh, there's a new Obsidian statue. This Obsidian statue making its way over, perhaps to provide a bit of mana and hit points. As we're looking at for the Mountain King, Paladin, and Archmage, 5-4-3 going up against 5-4-4. All right. Mountain King, Archmage, Paladin, both sides being very cautious as they move forward. They know that they could walk into a bit of a trap here. Now Pink is trying to set up this expo, and well, that gold mine pretty much instantaneously lost. There is long distance mining by the peasants here, so this is actually a bit of an advantage for HawK. He's still able to at least get some gold out of that gold mine. Meanwhile, Pink has no way to mine any gold at this stage in the game, as we're looking at 77 supply compared to 67. All right. Pink has to somehow force a fight here, and as the game goes long, well, that little bit of extra gold over time should favor HawK, and now it's going to come down to this battle here on the bridge. All right, there goes a quick Impale. Mortar team's taking quite a bit of damage. Death Coil, Frost Nova trying to remove those high output damage. Obsidian statues quickly getting taken down by the Griffin Riders, as we see a couple more Impales go down as well. Crypt Fiends getting taken down as well. Obsidian statues still trying to stand in the back. The Banshees taking, well, sheets and sheets of that Blizzard and Thunderclap, as the Banshees could be in a little bit of trouble. Archmage trying to fall back here. Does have an Invul Potion. Is he going to fall back? Yes, and Militia joining in on the battle. Mountain King, more Thunderclaps here. Level 4 now on that Paladin. Level 4 Paladin, level 2 Divine Shield, as we see the Mountain King still diving in here pretty heavily. There goes the Impale, though. Archmage could get taken down. Invul Potion not used in time. And now, with the Archmage gone, and now the Crypt Lord nearing level 6, things are now in favor of Pink. All right, Lich continuing to fight back the other way. Death Knight still has an anti-magic shell. There's level 6 on that Crypt Lord. And you can see all of these gift-wrapped Griffin Riders, because of the Crypt Fiends here, causing so many problems. Crypt Fiend after Crypt Fiend is slowly falling. There's a Staff of Sanctuary, as the Paladin now needs to get away and head back. All right, we're looking at some of these units falling back here. 48 supply, 46 supply compared to 38. Another Griffin going to get taken out here. And with that, what is going to go down? Lich nearing level 5. 46 compared to 33. Mountain King still out of commission. Knight is just waiting for this battle to come around here. Paladin is currently, well, low on hit points and could have a very bad day too. All right. Paladin, well, is shadow melded right here. No shade to keep track of all of this. Mountain King should be ready for action. There you are. But without the Brilliance Aura, could have a very, very tough time. Mountain King, no Fountain of Mana. There's another Divine Shield again. There's an Impale. Level 5 now on the Lich. But I believe Pink has this game. That Invul Potion just not used early enough because of that stun. greatly changing the direction of the game as the Archmage here gets surrounded by Acolytes. Their Staff of Sanctuary saves the Archmage back the other side. And what is happening here? The Acolytes are still here. There's a Death Coil finishing off one knight. There goes another knight as well. And this Archmage, well, and the Paladin are both just Staff of Sanctuary. They're just stationary, absorbing damage, and they're gonna fall as the Mountain King does get to level 5, but it's not gonna be enough. Pink comes away, allowing his heroes to take down HawKs and take the necessary experience advantage for the win. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.